Assalamu alaikum audience. Today's topic of presentation is factors that affect or increase the chances of provision of help. In this presentation, we will be discussing factors that are directly linked with the potential helper as well as the person or the needy person or the person who is in crisis or in emergency. Starting one with the very first one, that is mood and helping. There is a considerable evidence that people are more willing to help when they are in a good mood. For example, when we find a coin in a telephone booth, or when we have a free cookies or free gift from somebody, this may make us to feel good, and in turn this may us to help or provide help more. Although the link between positive mood and helping is well established and a number of studies have been conducted, for example, on the basis of these studies, one number of explanation and theory has been suggested. One of the important theoretical explanation is known as a mood maintenance hypothesis. This suggests that we offer help to prolong our own positive emotional state. Doing good makes us to feel good. Another possible explanation is that being in a good mood leads us to have more positive thoughts. But one important limitation in this particular explanation is that feeling good affect it doesn't last forever, or the time period is very much short one. One of the study in which the mood maintenance hypothesis was explained and was assessed, it was found that the effect of feeling good affect it lasts only for 20 minutes. Another important factor that is motives for helping. Studies have shown that there may be two important motives behind a helping behavior. One is empathy and second is personal distress. A useful distinction can be made between helping based on a personal distress and helping based on a empathy. Personal distress means our own emotional reactions to the plight of others, our feeling of shock, horror, alarm, concern, or helplessness. Personal distress occurs when people who witness can even are preoccupied with their own emotional reactions, whereas in empathy means the feeling of sympathy and caring for others, and it is particularly sharing or indirectly in suffering of others. Empathy occurs when the observer focuses on the needs and emotions of the victim person. Personal distress leads us to feel anxious and apprehensive, whereas empathy leads us to feel sympathetic and compassionate. Now, comparing these both motives with responses to the emotional reactions as well as the basic motivational factor, we can say that when the person is having empathy towards our needy person, the emotional reaction that he actually is having, that is of compassion and sympathy, and the basic motive behind the empathy is to reduce own distress, whereas a personal distress, the emotional reaction is the feeling of anxiety, being upset and feeling disturbed, and the motive behind the overall helping behavior is to reduce our own personal distress. Now we'll discuss the personal characteristics or the characteristics that are directly linked with the personality traits of an individual. Efforts to identify a single personality profile of a helpful person have not been successful. Number of factors, number of traits have been identified, such as one of the study found that adults with a high need for approval are more likely to donate money and to provide help to needy person. Along with that, number of other explanation has been given with reference to person's personality, such as in one of the study, a group of students they were studied, and after the completion of the experiment there was an in-depth interview that was conducted on these 32 individuals, and they were being asked about how much they are likely to provide help to a needy person. It was found that those who are having can play the potential helper roles were significantly taller, heavier, and better trained to cope with emergencies, and they were non-interveners. That means they were more likely to provide help. Along with that, all but one of the interveners were men. That means though gender-based difference do exist with reference to the potential helpers' qualities, but mainly it was found that those who are taller, heavy body build, better trained to cope with emergencies, and who are more life saving medical or police training, and less aggressive, more strong, and more principled were found to be more helpful as compared to those who are lacking all of these possible traits and qualities. As you know, there has been long debate on gender and the possible effect of gender on one's particular behavior. Uh, is one sex is more helpful than other? Consisting with the traditional male role as a protector, men are more likely to engage in helping behavior, and as you know, they are being defined as heroic and being thought to be involved in rescuing in number of cases and situations. In other ways, however, women and men are thought to be equally likely to show extraordinary courage in helping other people. Number of studies have shown that considering that individuals who donate a kidney to save the life of another person, and specifically it was found that 57% of the kidney donors were women. That means the situation matters a lot. If the situation is something else, that is asking for courage, bravery, and physical health and strength, in those cases men, or we can say male individuals, were thought to be and found to be more active as compared to females. Studies have also investigated social support and providing assistance, advice, and emotional encouragement to the friends and relation. And it was found that women are more likely than men to provide social support to others. And finally, women are more likely than men to be primary caregivers for the family, taking major responsibility for the care of the children and also for aging parents. So we can say that in some situation, male individuals are more helpful and prove to be helpful as compared to female, whereas other cases females have proven to be more helpful as compared to male individuals. Bystander intervention, this is one of the important phenomena in order to understand what is the helping behavior. As we have just gone through a theoretical perspective and we are now clear about the different theories that explain the helping behavior, now we can understand that what is bystander intervention. The bystander intervention is the technical term for helping a stranger in distress. Psychological research into the bystander intervention was sparked because of one highly publicized murder. That was a woman in 1964 named Kitty. She was working late one night, and near the front of her apartment, she was attacked and repeatedly stabbed. During half an hour, she was being struggling with the attacker. She repeatedly screamed and was being stabbed again and again. And 38 people living in that adjacent houses and apartments later they said that they heard the screams, but no one came to help her or even called the police or any emergency. And the police were not called until 20 minutes after she died. This important situation made the social psychologist to explore that why the individuals or those different residents who were living along with in that particular area, they were unable to provide help to this victim person. On the basis of this respond from the social psychologist, number of explanation has been given. We will discuss that in which manner the different social psychologists have explained the whole scenario, the way the different individuals, specifically the residents and the apartment neighborhood, how and why they behaved such helplessly. They heard the scream, but actually no one came to help her or even called the police. Why didn't anyone help Kitty and why it happened? Number of questions raised. Social psychologists responded to this tragedy by using scientific methods to study why bystanders sometimes fails to help strangers in distress and why bystanders sometimes risk their own lives to save strangers in a great need. What are the causes of bystander effect? One of the possible answer to this question is that presence of others. One of the experiment that was conducted by Layton and Darley, they suggested that when there are presence of so many onlookers, may have caused the lack of helping behavior. Those who witnessed the murder may have assumed that others are already called the police, so this may have l- decreased the chances of provision of help. And Layton and Darley called this the bystander effect. The presence of other people make it less likely that anyone will help a stranger in distress. In this experiment, in which actually this experiment was conducted on college student, and it was found that those students who are in an emergency situation and who are witnessing that there is an individual who is in need of help and only one person was present in that situation, that is person needy person is more likely to be provided help, whereas the same individual, when he was being observed and witnessed by number of other individuals, he was less likely and was not provided help as compared to the earlier case. A second explanation for the bystander effect concerning ambiguity in the interpreting of the situation is that potential helpers are sometimes uncertain if a particular situation is actually an emergency situation or not. The behavior of other bystanders can influence how we define a situation and react to it. If other person are ignoring a situation, we may think that actually the situation is not an emergency situation. There was a study that was conducted by Layton and Darley. In this experiment, college men was actually they were filling a questionnaire, and after few minutes, the smoke was began to enter into the room, and through air went. Soon, complete room was filled with the smoke, and all the individuals were behaving normally, and actually they were confederates. When the subjects were alone, they usually walked around a room and investigated this room, and 75% reported the smokes to the researcher when within a 4 minutes. When they were having more confederates in their room, the real subject were less likely to responding or reporting about the smoke in the room. So the way other people are behaving to the situation is very much important to label a situation as an emergency situation. Potential helpers are uncertain about their emergency situation, and the only possible clue that they can get about the situation to be emergency situation is that is simply by observing other persons or other individuals that are very much there in that situation. And if they think that other individuals are ignoring a situation, we may not take that situation as an emergency situation. And in that experiment that was conducted in the college student, it was found that 75% of the individuals they reported the smoke when they were alone. That means they think that they are the only individuals who are supposed to make a decision about the situation to be an emergency situation, as compared to when the subject was along with two other confederates that reported only 10% of the subject reported that in that room there was a smoke. A third factor in the bystander effect is evaluation apprehension. If we know that other people are watching our behavior, we may get stage fright, or we may worry that we will do something wrong, or other will evaluate negatively. Subject in the smoke-filled rooms may have feared that they would look foolish or cowardly if they report about the smoke. So this may make calm down. So we can say that the desire to avoid the cost of social disapproval can inhibit our actions. Evaluation apprehension makes us more likely to help when in situations when it may be taken as a positive point. In some cases, there are evaluation apprehension makes us to show more helping behavior. If we someone fall down in a flight of stairs or we have a heart attack, the social appropriate response is to offers assistance. In such situation, the knowledge that others are watching may actually increase our tendency to help. So, overall, evaluation apprehension is not necessarily decreases the chances of provision of help. In some cases, evaluation apprehension sometimes increase that the chance of being helped to the needy person. Environmental conditions can also be one of the important factors. The physical setting influence helpfulness. Number of factors environmental condition has been studied by researchers. The effect of weathers were investigated, in which it was found that those pedestrians who were approached outdoors and asked to help the researcher by completing a questionnaires as compared to people are significantly more likely to help when they were being asked for help in a day when it was a sunny day as compared to when it was a not sunny day or it was a rainy day. Another study, it was found that climate control restaurant, it was found that individuals were more likely to give tip when it was a sunny day and it was shiny day. And another research have suggested that um, in rainy weather, the chances of provision of help decreases. And similarly, during daytime, help provision is rather more as compared to the night. Comparing the city dwellers and the urban areas dwellers, it was found that city dwellers are more likely to be showing selfish behavior and self-centered behavior, and in turn are found to be unfriendly, unhelpful, whereas small town residents are cooperative and helpful. Researchers also have suggested that helping stranger in distress do have some link with the city size. Strangers are more likely to be assessed in small towns than in large cities. And it was also found that those who are in larger cities are less likely to be provided help, specifically if they are stranger in that situation. Another important factor is the time pressure. Sometimes people feel that they are too much hurried to help. And one of the study that was conducted by Darlan and Batson, it was demonstrated that the effect of time pressure affect overall behavior of an individual. In this study, male students were asked to walk to another building, and they were, while passing through a corridor, they witnessed that there was a person who was being slumped on the doorway and was asking for help. Those individuals who were asked to move to the next building within short time period, they were less likely to provide help as compared to another group of individuals, another group of students having the same task of like moving to the next building, but having the same situation. They have witnessed that of a person, shabby dressed individual who was slumped in the doorway and asking for help. They were more likely and to provide help. And the experiment suggests that 10% of those in hurry helped as compared to 63% of those who were not in hurry. So comparing these two percentages, we can say that those who was in hurry, only 10% of those students, they provided help and they were likely and they responded to the request given by that slumped individual as compared to those individuals who were not in hurry. So this was those factors that may affect